So this is my translation of the scriptures, and it's based on the Carlos Castaneda stuff. I think when I read the scriptures after having obsessed over Carlos Castaneda for so many years.
At the light, use the left lane to turn left onto Rogers Avenue.
I think, when I read stuff about Jesus healing, and the disciples healing, and Jesus teaching them how to heal, it was oh, that's kind of interesting in light of the Carlos Castaneda stuff. That's Jesus also talks about the worthiness issue, it's kind of contingent on your faith. And what does that mean? And then there's just but we talk about that in church. We sit down all in a room, like the Alanis Morissette song Utopia. We gather around all in a room, fasten our belts, engage in dialogue, because she says it funny in those. Anyway, okay. Engage in dialogue. We all sit around, fasten our belts, engage in dialogue. Here we go. Ready, set, go. What is faith? And everybody has the answer. Just boom, tip of the brain. Faith is the substance for things hoped for but not seen, or something like that, which are true. Hope is things that are true that you hope for but you can't see. This is just said over and over and over. I think that this is just said so much it's become a vain repetition, and that's why I take issue with it. Not that it's wrong, just that it's now a vain repetition. People don't even know what it means. We don't have even the smallest precursors of faith to do the simplest of material manipulation in the God realm, in the consciousness.
Continue on Rogers Avenue for half a mile.
Rather than in the realm of mammon. You can't serve God and mammon. These things shall be revealed to you as you go, as you understand. You have to go to know. Some things you have to actually go places in order to understand how God works. And you have to go places to understand. That's just how it works. And the more you understand, the more you can do things. And that's what Jesus is go out and heal people. We don't do that, though, really. Not like they were doing. Not like I've seen described in there. We're more miracles did happen. I feel like miracles happen more with the early church. And I think that's also why...
turn left onto North C Street, then turn left onto Bell Avenue.
Show us signs if you really are, you say you are, because...
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Northeast Street.
Blessings are predicated upon your worthiness, and miracles, when you have attained a certain level of knowledge, you can perform miracles. Is that
at the light, turn left onto Northeast Street.
Is that what the scriptures are saying? That's what the scriptures say to me. Okay. Now, in light of the Don Juan stuff, that would make sense, because if Jesus is just messing around with the same reality we all mess around.
Continue on Northeast Street for half a mile.
God's son or not, he's messing around with what we all have to work with as well. That's the whole point of him having a body and coming to earth, is so he knows how it is, right? And so he has to work within the constructs. It's not like he's working outside the realm. It's like Princess Bubblegum is yes, wizardry is all science, and yes, it might all boil down to science, but it's something else too. Maybe. I don't know. So anyway, okay, so likely Jesus is working within this realm's rules, because of course he would be. If you have a body, there are physical laws of nature we follow. There are rules we follow just in the very nature of having a body. So, okay, Jesus working within the construct, and then Don Juan describing healers and moving their assemblage points, and there have been people who stumble upon healing, and they can those miracle healings where they cut somebody open with a butter knife on the kitchen table and pull out the organs and wash them in a jar, in a little bath or a tub. and then they put no blood, and then they put the organs back in, and then they push the wound.
In 800 feet, turn left onto North 16th Street.
It actually heals the person. I think there were a lot of those stories, especially back in the 60s. I think that was rampant. I think faith predicates...
Turn left onto North 16th Street.
...kind of thing. And I think that might be somewhat similar to the...
In 1,000 feet, your destination will be on the left.
I feel like my destination is not here on the left. Okay, I need to go. Picking back up. So the faith healing being similar to what Jesus was doing. Like, was Jesus just moving the assemblage points of people? Was Jesus working with the knowledge of Don Juan? Like, the knowledge that Don Juan describes, is that also similar to knowledge of what Jesus had? We just don't have it described that well, and we have like a few texts written with strong cultural reference and bias, which would be normal. If we had another text with some other culture, it might be interesting. Was the Jesus stuff exaggerated? That's another question. People say maybe it was just exaggerated over the years because it wasn't written like the day it was happening, right? It was written sometimes hundreds of years after Jesus died. So I don't know. And is the Don Juan stuff even real? Is Carlos Castaneda just saying stuff? But it's interesting to have a completely different worldview. You know, we all have this Judeo-Christian worldview, kind of. We're kind of completely born into it. But there's other cultures and other worldviews. We're so ethnocentric when we think about other cultures within the construct of our Judeo-Christian worldview, right? I say Judeo-Christian as if I know. Whatever worldview we all have, it's normal. It's like everybody knows about Adam and Eve, and like, anyway, it's the year 2025. It's not that year in every culture. Like, God didn't label that down. It's like the correct like year, how we organize time. Like, anyway, our worldview is very pervasive. We don't, as a world, we don't go by any other calendar, right? To me, it's a little shocking about how is the word ubiquitous it is, how everywhere it is. Sometimes to me, I kind of think about that as like the Church of Babylon. Like, there's like this great and wicked church, and then there's a few saints scattered around. So if you belong to like the main thing that's going on, you can almost be for sure that you're wrong, that you're in the wrong group. You know what I mean? If you have a Judeo-Christian worldview. But if you don't, maybe you don't. Maybe you're not in the wrong group. Maybe there's another worldview out there that means you're in the right group. Well, there's a lot of different worldviews in there. But assuming Castaneda is telling the truth, and assuming the Bible's telling the truth, that Don Juan and Castaneda correlation seems interesting, and like Jesus performing miracles because he understands knowledge and has knowledge the way Don Juan is describing knowledge, certain forms of knowledge, it would make sense.